Hey everyone, today I wanted to talk about something that happened to me recently. Coming to college, one of the changes that I experienced was a lot of fluctuating with my weight. And I usually never got comments. It was more like looks. I think that's what I noticed when people would see like how drastic the weight gain was between high school and college. But recently I experienced body shaming, and it's not the first time, but this particular experience really I think was very dramatic, and it definitely stood out. So I wanted to share this story, and hopefully it helps some people who have gone through body shaming, or it can possibly help you know how to ask people things or how to make your comments so that they're not hurtful in any sort of way. If I move, you might see it's pink, so you might see my bow, so don't think it's anything weird. And the story, it spanned a few hours and there were breaks in between, but it was with the same individual who I will not say what the relationship is with me, just because I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus. I think it's more about the story than the individual. So let's get started. I went home about 2 months ago, and I was in my sister's room, and this other individual who let's call I'm trying to pick a name of someone I don't know, because I really don't want people to think it's an individual when it's not. I'm not trying to have people guess who it is. So let's call this individual Mark. I was in my sister's room back home, and she had recently gotten roses. So I made this comment to Mark. I was like, well, my sister got these roses from, maybe you should buy me roses because I want some roses. And I'm not trying to say this individual is a man. I'm just using the name Mark. This individual said, well, maybe if you lost some weight, you would get roses as well. And it totally threw me off. I couldn't understand where this was coming from, because I felt like I was attacking this other individual, because it definitely felt like an attack. So I responded, and Mark ended up leaving the room, and then Mark needed a favor. I ended up driving this individual to Oakland, and then driving back. On the way back, I guess as a thank you, he or she offered to buy us dinner, and everyone ordered tacos. There was another person with us except me. I got a grilled cheese because I was just craving. When I offered the grilled cheese to our other friend and then to Mark, both of them said no. But when it was Mark's turn to say no, he was definitely more like, well, I shouldn't be eating bread this late, and neither should you. And I think that was another attack. So I questioned him or her, and I was like, what are you trying to say? What do you mean? And this is when it really, really started. I'm going to use the term they. So basically they were saying, well, obviously you don't care about yourself anymore because you've let yourself go so much. And it really bothered me because I love myself. I care about myself very much. I was always a big person, but in high school I was very active in the sports that I participated in, and so that definitely helped me. So I think it touched home a little bit because my weight fluctuates so much. So when this person said I didn't care about myself, I obviously responded back. And I think maybe the smartest thing to have done was to say, look, that is very disrespectful, and I don't appreciate that, and it's very hurtful, and I won't deal with you until you either change your perspective and or apologize and just leave the situation. But I was in a car just getting dropped off, so it was just a really tense situation where we were basically going at it back and forth. And I told this person to not bring that up, because if they asked me to not bring a certain topic up, I would respect them enough to not talk about it. And this individual basically kept going and said, well, if you how do you ever expect to find someone to love you and to spend the rest of your life with if you don't lose any weight? I definitely was angry and couldn't understand what was going on. So I didn't handle it the best way possible. I asked them to stop, not in the best way possible. And then this individual said, we were almost home, and said, I know you don't care what I think, but I'm just saying, right? Like, this individual has any say in my life. I'm just saying that one day you're gonna get so big that you're not even gonna be able to get into a car by yourself. And that, for a second, I lost my breath. It caught in my throat because it was so, I just didn't expect so much shade coming from one individual, actually. Like, it was horrible. And I paused, and I'm sure responded. I probably cursed and responded in a very angry way too, like in an ignorant way as well. And then this person said, he basically named our relationship, right? Like, in our friendship or whatever, in our relationship, he said, I'm just saying, and he said this in Spanish, I'm just saying, I'm so ashamed to see a blank, he named our relationship, of mine be so fat. I think it was the word fat that triggered it, and just more importantly, that another person would be ashamed of me because of my body weight. Like, that was just so crazy to me. This happened 2 months ago, and I haven't spoken to this individual since. This individual has reached out to me once, actually. Called once. I ignored the call, and I've gone back home twice. So I haven't crossed paths with this individual a few times, but I'm definitely mature enough to be able to see and get myself away from negative people. I don't need that in my life, and thankfully I have the privilege that I live in a different area and I can remove myself from the situation. But it was just a horrible experience. It definitely hurt my feelings. Thankfully, I'm a very confident person and I do love myself, and I won't let that push me towards unhealthy habits, like any type of disorder basically that I could fall on. I think it made me grow up a little bit, and I do realize that my weight fluctuates, and I realize that I need to be healthy. I only do have one body, but at the end of the day, I don't think that we should judge. It's not our place. And I think if you're concerned about someone's health or weight or whatever, it's actual concern. It's not like a judgment. I think the most you can do is say, hey, I'm going for a walk. Do you want to come with me? Or, hey, I'm going to the gym. Want to be my workout buddy this week. Other than that, you can't. You can't, because then there's very fine lines that once you cross, you'll hurt feelings, and it's just not right. So I will say this. I think there's a few reasons why this individual lashed out at me and, body shamed me. First, I think it was out of ignorance. And second of all, I think this person can't really find a good way to communicate with me and ask me, or recommend things, instead of just judging me and being so malicious about it. And the third, I think this person was so angry that he was going to say whatever it took for me to listen. It didn't matter how I felt or how I would take it. The only thing that mattered was that I would listen. I think this person didn't feel like they were being heard. But that's not my problem at the end of the day. If you have encountered body shaming, I think the best thing to do is make that person know that what they said is wrong, and get away from them. Get away from their negativity and their shady ass. I'm sure it won't be the last time that I experience body shaming, but I'm very happy with myself, and I will work on my eating habits, because I think that's what I struggle with the most. But it's not because of this individual, because I could care less what this person has to say, but it's not okay to be saying this. So that's why I'm making this video, so that other people don't make this mistake, and for people who experience body shaming, and hopefully you can find some support in this video. But to be real, at the end of the day, my BMI shouldn't take away from the great person that I am. And most importantly, having a high BMI doesn't mean I'm less of a human being, and I deserve to be treated with respect and some sort of kindness. So I'm not going to speak to this individual until I get an apology, because I think this person passed a line, a lot of lines. Alright, so that's the end of my story. Please comment down below anything if you have experienced it, or any advice you have for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon.
Like, as much as I
Love me forever. Oh my god, is that your
as much as I like, there's things about you that annoy me. I mean, it's what makes you.
Like what?
It's what makes you you, and